Alright, fellas. So we have Mr. Hubby Porn Star back again, and I did a long ass video on all this this morning, and I did it wearing a shirt for a change. Maybe that's why the motherfucker never uploaded. It's a sign from the universe. Don't do videos with your shirt on. Don't cuck out. I mean, I didn't cuck out. It was just early in the morning. Aircon was running, and ah. But basically, that video was about if you don't adopt extreme methods, fitness wise, life wise, then you're a fucking loser, and you're destined. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I pronounce words differently, and to remain a fucking loser, which is fine actually. I mean, I'm not attacking people that choose that because for there to be some winners, there must be a lot of fucking losers. That's just the way of the universe. All these people that say I'm so extreme. So, I mean, look at your results. I got the girls, I got the body, the X shape, hubby porn star. I mean, the results are in front of you. And so they cope by saying, not everyone needs to be that. Not everybody needs to adopt extreme methods. But anyway, this morning I started that video by, the Jason Bourne thing. Extreme ways have helped me out every time. Extreme ways have hurt me, or whatever the hell that song was. I mean, I still remember in China, those guys next door to me didn't know any English. And by the end of, 2 weeks, they were singing along with me. Oh, baby, oh, baby. All they were saying was baby. Because, what I used to do was at the time, you couldn't get pull-up bars in China. Hey, they used to manufacture the world's shit, but you couldn't find it in China. You could get all the dumbbells and weights and pull-ups. You'd ask a Chinese person, they'd be like, you go to hill to do, you go to park. It's like, okay, we'll hang on a tree, we'll be a monkey. And they're probably right, and I did that. But before I went to Hong Kong and I finally got a chinning bar, which my landlord was like, before I did that, he was like, in China, you got to make your own. And so I was like, okay, let's try that. I didn't really have a plan. Outside of one of these saunas and bordellos, and I've told this story so many times on my site, I found this thick-ass iron pipe, and I just got it. I don't know the first thing about construction, but I got it welded on my fucking doorway. And it was this thick, literally, here to here, that pipe. Way thicker than any thick grips or anything, and it was solid metal. My, beautiful calluses used to bleed when I used to do them. And that was at the age of, I wasn't even that fit back then, but I still did them. That was truly an example of me being big but not fat. But I was fat, I'm just saying what people would say, because I was lifting weights, people were like, huge forearms, this and that, but I couldn't do pull-ups that well, and I'd get out of breath while climbing stairs, and not that much, but, then I got that uninstalled. Oh my god, that was painful. So when I used to do my pull-ups, it was like I used to sing along with the Jason Bourne song. And look, every person that has succeeded at any level is called extreme. I did that video on people that hate on Goggins are stupid. When I say hate, I mean, criticize him. Who won? He won, despite his very humble beginnings. And this is another thing I want to say. Everybody, keeps talking, oh, he has so much money, this and that. And even when I was flat broke, Chinese kids would come up to me and they'd be like, Hanto Chien, make more. And as if being an American makes you automatically rich. Those days are long gone, middle class or whatever. But it's abundance, and I love it that people say that. The money's written on your face and all that. Maybe that's why. This morning I was researching Trump's dad, Fred Trump, and some dude comes up to me and he's like, do you want to put your properties on rent? And I'm like, property? I'm a Bedouin nomad, I'm interested in my girls, my fitness, traveling the world, one place to the other, digital nomad. That's what people love about me, my customers. I mean, that's one of the things. They all say they wish, like my housemaids, they could have it, and they'd take it if it was offered to them without the work. I mean, and people have said that. Even my customers, they've said if they could do it, they do it. But they don't want to put in the work, because it's extreme, because it requires a lot of sacrifice. Back to Trump, I mean, it's interesting. Like, everyone keeps whining about, oh, he only succeeded because his dad, the real estate developer, he gave him a company. And look, I get the same comments all the time that, you were born into a middle class, lower middle class family at the time. It was that. And I mean, my sister and I, we shared a room. We didn't even have separate rooms. And I'm not saying we lacked for essentials, but I'm just saying that's how it was. And then they actually carved out a room for her. In the living room, they actually built half the living room then, when she grew up a little. Which, and it's like, you watching this could have been born in a slum or with a silver spoon in your mouth, a golden spoon. We can't control that. It's Trump lost more money by becoming a politician, or I wouldn't call him that, but by becoming president and all these attacks and all that. If he hadn't done all that, he'd still have been a very successful real estate developer because, his dad, he got that company. I mean, because his elder brother didn't, elder guy, he wanted to be a pilot or something. And, alcoholism, Fred Trump Jr., I believe his name was. I don't know. I mean, but here's the thing. Nobody would have known about it. Unless you take risks, nobody will know about you. It all boils down to how do you want to be remembered. You have people saying that, influencers like me are not, you don't need to do that many pull-ups. You don't need to, like Goggins, he has crazy routines. And I guess Goggins is a mega influencer. And some of us are, right now, a little lower down, a little bit, not in the niche, but overall. But let me tell you one thing, man. I mean, when you have an extremely hard life mentally growing up, the only way to survive is by reversing it, yin and yang. You have to be extreme. From the age of 3, I was brutally, mentally. Remember my mom, that story I said? And she was like this. And I still remember I was about this much. I'll share that picture. It's an extremely cute picture of me with a helmet. I was always, the guy that wanted to do more. I mean, I remember my dad saying, you think you're this big man with long beards when I was 13. And, all I wanted to do was shave. I mean, normal guy thing, It's like, I've spoken about that. For me, I was viewed as a tool to service women, basically. And I never, and you have to either accept it because it's very brutal. It's not always physical. Like for Goggins, it was physical. Stuff like, parents will strip your son naked and they'll whip his ass, quite literally. And he'll be standing in front of the fireplace. He can't move or he gets burnt. So you take the beating. You have to cope some way. I've spoken about this before. Everything is a cope. And even the mental is far worse than the physical, which is probably why I thank Dr. Lecter today. He had the same sort of upbringing. And not his parents, but then, when the Soviets came, he was born into a privileged family, but then that privilege simply disappeared when he was like 6 or 4, But, and then the Soviets took it over. It all became communist and, an ex-girlfriend of mine, Emily, I mean, her mom, this is what she used to do. And she was another one of these middle-class idiots. She was, middle class is constantly frustrated. Like, a lot of guys that talk to me, they're frustrated. They can't get the rich girls, and the poor girls, they can't get those either because they don't want them. And I get them both, And what's most frustrating to them and the girls is that I stay away from the middle class girls, because they're all so gay, but they all want me anyway. But my point is this, she took a 6-year-old girl, Emily, her name was, into a room, and she's like, honey, here's your Christmas present. And what was it? It was a bag full of ashes. Literally a little girl opening that. And women say they're not psychopathic, they're not cruel. I mean, you- I mean, it was the same thing. I mean, for me, it was the age of 3. For her, it was at the age of 6. I mean, but that's, a sort of, I mean, and Emily couldn't cope. She passed away due to COVID. Her dad did too, and you either win or you lose. It's very binary. Life is extremely binary. I mean, people act like it's not. There's no in the middle. There's no equality between men and women. It doesn't exist. I mean, I've explained this so many times, and so for me, mentally, I've had to unlearn a lot of stuff, this and that, but physically, I saw Dr. Lecter in my dreams yesterday. Did that post on raulmukherjee.com, and, I wrote about that. Physically, if I don't keep doing something, man, it's not about that my success will go, or I could do 20 or 10 pull-ups a day and, still maintain myself. I could not do any or maintain myself, but that's not it. You have to keep pushing, or that success will take wings and fly away. And my point is not just that. My point is this. Demons. I have nightmares all the time, and I'm not referring to Camelot's fucking hyena like cackle. I'm not referring. I'm not referring to Camelot. I'm saying I have these demons, because shit doesn't just go away. Women will do something, and then they'll say, let bygones be bygones. It doesn't work that way. That's not. And if you let bygones be bygones, then you let somebody else do something to you, but you don't retaliate. There's no repercussion. It's not in accordance with the laws of the universe. Every action has a reaction. I mean, it's even written into physics. You know, um, but yeah, I mean, why would you not choose to adopt extreme ways if winners win using that's the only way you can win, because anything that you do that actually requires sacrifice, guts, that goes against the mainstream narrative is called very extreme, misogynistic, all these other garbage names, when it's actually the polar opposite. Fitness wise, extreme is who's got the results, Goggins or you? You know, who's got the results, me or you? I mean, that's a form of cope, and everything is a form of cope. I mean, I'm not saying my hard workouts, in fact, I've said it in writing, are not cope. I mean, everything is a cope on either side, but you have to choose which side you would like to be on. You know, which side ultimately gives you better and more positive results. I don't know, you gotta choose. It's a very binary choice. You gotta choose which side will give you better results. Coping will keep you in the middle. You'll always want those things. I mean, I get like comments to think, oh, I'd take it if it was offered for free and blah blah blah. I mean, well, do what it takes to get there, but they don't want to do that. Oh, because, women will think that. Oh, society will think that. What will other people think? That's typical middle class thinking. It's fine if you want to be that way, but my point simply is to win, you have to adopt extreme ways. My corollary add-on point, look at what they did to Trump. They almost tried to shoot him. Now, a lot of you say that was all staged and blah, blah, but it still takes guts to stand up there, and I'm not sure it was entirely staged. I mean, the whole world is theater at the top, but that didn't seem that staged to me. I mean, yeah, you could argue that, how could somebody miss in this day and age? But bullets are very imprecise. Technology doesn't always work. And, there's always the what ifs and buts and all that. But fact is, he stood there, he took a bullet, look at what they did to him before that. Look at what they've been doing to any remotely masculine man that's not even at the level of media scrutiny that Trump is under, you know they attack you at whichever level you're at. You could be living in a middle class home, and everybody in that house will just attack you. Because it's not just the crabs in a bucket mentality. That's part of it, yes. But look, you guys say I've got every time I've had the opportunity to make real money, my family and all this, you guys keep saying, oh, he's from a rich family because he looks rich, blah, blah. No, it's abundance mentality. And I was actually told not to do it. I was trained all my life to be a wage slave, get married to a fat feminist bitch, according to my mom, and then either listen to mom or listen to her. That's what it was. I never chose that path. I mean, it was very difficult, but I fought it. I still fight it. Now I don't need to fight that much because I'm at a certain point. So, you know, but yeah, if you don't adopt extreme ways, man, you're gonna remain a loser forever. I mean, do you want that? Now people will cope and say, "Oh, but that's not being a loser." I mean, when you make statements, like, but there'll always be somebody better. Yeah, they may be, but why not eliminate that possibility the best you can? Oh, but there's nothing to gain from that. There is. You're getting better yourself. I mean, but Goggins, man, every time I see people criticize Goggins like that, it just, I always laugh because who's got the results, man? I mean, you know, extreme ways have helped me every time. I mean, if you're a winner, that's exactly how you should be thinking, and you should be willing to go to any ends possible to accomplish. I keep talking about fitness and pull ups because this mentality, fitness is something everybody can do, okay? And this mentality bleeds into every aspect of your life. If you're an extremely disciplined motherfucker, if you have extreme hard lines, red lines, and then that'll show in your work. That's why people are so addicted to me, one reason. But the other thing I want to say is this, that you know Goggins himself has gone on record saying you don't have to do these extreme brutal workouts. You can just, I mean, but still, yeah, people, talk about that. Have you ever talked to the guy? It's all these guys. It's like, nobody wants to talk directly. They say that he doesn't talk directly to us, he doesn't do this, but when you talk directly to them, they won't answer your questions. They simply want you to answer all their questions. You pose a question to them, they won't answer. How is that conducive to any sort of discussion? It boils down to that same feminist loser garbage that, they call me a slave owner. I mean, I've got death threats, and we all know who did that. And by the way, that guy, he's not that bad of a guy. He actually took back that threat after we had a conversation. Now, I don't want to get into why, but he realized, let's just say, it wasn't going anywhere. Now, yeah, I have nothing against the guy. He can do what he likes. He's probably still saying, and in fact, yeah, he did say something about me today, or indirectly. I don't mind, I think people can talk. People talk. But I do appreciate that, and because, but then you have other guys like Glenn who puts up Facebook pages dedicated to me with pedophilic images. Then those parents actually contacted me. Thank God one of the women who was smart enough, she was like, let's listen to his side of it. And they did. And, that was resolved because that account was getting reported and, It's funny though, Facebook and Instagram actually promote pedophilia. This has been proven by the New Mexico governor, I think a couple of years ago, 2022 or 23. Man, then I had this guy that comes up and he's like, he puts his daughter in chains. She's scared of him. He beats her. He does this. And that account got no traction because now with Trump back, nobody believes all these lies. Everybody knows what the game is. Nobody cares anymore. But they still keep trying, but nobody says anything against those people. That they'll say the most heinous things about you just because it garners attention, or they think it does. But now that playbook has been used so many times that nobody cares. My question to all this is simple. If winners adopt a mentality like that, it could be anybody. Genghis Khan, Napoleon, Putin, uh, Could be me at what I do, could be Goggins at what he does, could be any winner, you know. Well, why wouldn't you want to adapt? Why wouldn't you want to keep improving? I mean, unless you're saying that you're really, really satisfied with being at whatever level you are. And most people aren't. Most people just say they are. Because you look at their comments, and when, I mention the things I have, they say they would get it if it was offered to them. And I'm just being logical here. I'm not, trolling anybody or attacking anybody or, you know, because the things I have, it is what every man wants, and it cuts deep. So they make those comments. They want it too. So if they want it, why would you want to live the rest of your life wanting something, but then never, putting in the effort that it takes to get that something? Isn't that gay? It's like, not sexually. Yeah, I'm just asking, why? But then nobody wants to answer why when it comes to them. Instead, I get asked why I roam around with my shirt on or shirt off. Hey, two reasons. One, I got a fucking. Everybody's out to attack me. They say it's paranoia, but it's not. I mean, facts are there, so I'm like, I got a target painted on me. Come get me, and then they don't. And the other reason is when I upload videos with my shirt on, they don't upload. So I had to take my shirt off. Well, the motherfucker doesn't upload. Uh, Maybe the Wi-Fi is gay. Maybe, I don't know what it is. But extreme ways have helped me every time. So, remember that song? It was classic. Born, does pull-ups. There's common threads, man. All these guys. Now, you may have the odd exception like Donald Trump who says exercise depletes batteries and all that. And I'll say, but that's Donald Trump, He's truly, I mean, or you may have somebody like me, oh, I own slaves, brags about it. That's, but, I mean, physically, people do pull-ups. They do them very well. One thing, Matt Damon, when he shot for that movie, he was overweight. He was fat. But then he got down to a point where he could do, people say, I say I can do 25 pull-ups at one shot. I can. Oh, no, that's too tough. And then that Damon, got up to the point where he could do 35 pull-ups while surviving on what I keep saying, one meal a day, and running up and down mountains, what I did for years. Now, you could say he did it just for a movie, because then again, in the Michael Jordan movie, which it's an excellent movie. Ben Affleck is a cock in real life, Deepwater, but you should watch both movies. Deepwater is pretty interesting. He's a good actor, I don't care that Affleck is a cock. He says it openly, But Matt Damon is the real G, and Matt Damon then put on weight for that movie, and, so that's different. But why would you not want to be like that all the time in prime condition in real life, is my question. I mean, isn't it better? If you want those things, then you should keep doing those things, right? And I don't mean to brag, man, but walking down the street, the people attack me. You talk to every girl. They come up to me because I'm sexy, handsome. They don't even know I got a 9.2-inch dick, but I'm sorry. But I got it. I've always had it even when I was fat. And, it takes a lot of work mentally. And then, physically add it on and it. And then they say, oh, but I had this discussion the other day with my mom, and I told her, yeah, rich girls are poor girls. And she didn't like that. And she was, why not middle class? I mean, she didn't ask me that, but hey, the other day, some middle class girl, she's got her husband behind her. She's walking a dog or something. She is just staring holes at me through the distance. I walked away. She walks behind me. Hi. It's like, what's the guy supposed to do? You want me to just, stop being a man? Be gay? That's, this whole loser mentality is what society wants men to be. They want you to be a human ATM. They want you to be a cock. They want you to be a slave to women. And they want you to go die in a ditch in Ukraine when they go find another slave. That's what they want. Now, you can choose as a man which side you want to be on. This side is extremely hard, extreme sacrifice, extreme discipline, extreme toughness, extreme all that. That side is cock. And I hope that explains it. And see y'all later. If the video uploads this time.